Good morning. I want to welcome Assemblyman Angelo Santabarbara and Assemblyman Phil Steck. Councilmember Marion Porterfield joins me today. Fire Chief Ray Senecal, Deputy Chief, Assistant Chief Mike Gillespie from the Fire Department. I was kidding with the Chief. It's much better to see him here this time of the morning than at 2 o'clock in the morning, when it's all too often we have to deal with situations like this. Also, I'd like to acknowledge Carl Falatico, Corporation Counsel, Eric Schilling, Building Inspector, Steve Streichman, the Executive Director of the Capital Region Land Bank, Bob Harvey, President of Schenectady United Neighborhoods, and John Palomini, Vice Chairman of Better Neighborhoods. We're here today to endorse the Abandoned Property Neighborhood Relief Act and ask the state legislature to adopt this bill this session. As mayor, I'm committed to addressing the quality of life issues in our community. We have worked to update and improve code enforcement, and we've created a major initiative to encourage home ownership within our city. But the continuing challenge is dealing with blight, which discourages investment and draws in crime and other problems. In 2014, we conducted a partnership study with the Center for Technology and Government and found that a single property slated for demolition can, on average, generate expenses for a municipality in excess of $65,000. Further, these properties often follow a predictable and costly 7-year cycle, moving from mildly distressed to blighted or vacant and ultimately in need of demolition. Breaking that cycle is key to neighborhood revitalization efforts. Zombie properties, as they're called, are a critical element to that problem, and an issue we are seeing facing many upstate communities behind us is 1575 Santa Fe, a property in limbo, zombie state, after a mortgage company began foreclosure in 2011 and the homeowners abandoned the property. The foreclosure was never completed and neither party has maintained the property. Zombie status has become increasingly prevalent in communities across New York State. The Capital Region has over 1,500 zombies, which is actually a 50% increase from last year. Behind me, you'll also see pictures of 2 such properties in Schenectady. 5 Jefferson Street, which has had half-dozen public safety calls in the last 3 years, and the city law department is beginning legal action, which we're having to act on because the rear of the building is collapsing. And 822 State Street, which was adjacent to a youth center before being destroyed by a fire in May of 2014. And that one we had over 108 public safety calls from 2007 through the time of the fire. This follows the pattern seen statewide as zombie properties foreclosures have increased by 50% from 2013 to last year, and bringing the total number of properties across New York State to over 16,000. These vacant properties often fall into disrepair and harm the local quality of life through attracting crime and becoming a drag on neighborhood investment in home values. The Abandoned Property Neighborhood Relief Act will deal with this critical issue with a multifaceted approach to improve public safety and protect homeowners. It would require that homeowners be provided with early notice that they are legally entitled to remain in their homes until ordered to leave by a court. And in the event that the homeowners do leave their property before the foreclosure is complete, the bill would require mortgage lenders and their servicers to take responsibility for the properties soon after they've been vacated. And I want to just emphasize that the city of Schenectady stands ready, willing, and able to work with banks and individuals who have written those mortgages. Early intervention adds value to the neighborhood, and it actually allows the mortgage holders to maintain some value in the underlying mortgage. They may not get as much out of it as they want, but there's more value there than when everybody's walked away and you end up with something like this that is really on a path to just the only option becomes demolition. To help municipalities secure zombie properties, the bill would require mortgagees or their agents to electronically register these properties with a newly created statewide vacant abandoned property registry to be established and maintained by the Attorney General's office. Now I'd like to introduce Angelo Santabarbara, who would like to give us some updates from his perspective of the state legislature. Thank you, Assemblymember.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. Good morning, everybody, and I think the mayor did a good job summarizing the bill. He identified the problems here and what this bill is looking to do. It's an opportunity to hold back the zombie properties, as he's called them. I'm proud to be a sponsor of this legislation because it's an important step in restoring upstate cities, just like Schenectady. We're moving in the right direction to take on legislation like this. And the important thing to know about this bill is that these reforms will keep our communities safe and vibrant. It ensures that, as the mayor described, that the never-ending foreclosure cycle, through that process, the properties are going to be maintained so that the surrounding neighborhood is not negatively impacted. I can't tell you how many calls I get from my office to hear about properties that have not been maintained, and it's a problem for quality of life. It's a problem for the city, but also these zombie properties leave. They're caught in limbo, but it leaves the local governments with a bill to maintain these properties. So once this bill becomes law, zombie properties will cease to be a burden on our local taxpayers. So sort of killing off these zombie properties frees our local government, frees the city from having to pay for things like emergency maintenance. It keeps our neighborhood from being negatively impacted. It keeps everybody safe, and it's a step in the right direction. These are common sense measures, and it helps ordinary homeowners because it helps our families stay in their homes. The bill requires that banks and mortgage lenders notify homeowners that they are not forced out of their homes just because the foreclosure process has begun. New Yorkers deserve better than that, and that's what this bill is about. The bill not only requires banks to maintain these properties if they become vacant, but also, as the mayor said, there's going to be a registry of abandoned and vacant properties. This is going to help, and I see planning staff is here, this is going to help for future planning, helps identify which neighborhoods needs help and which neighborhoods need that investment. So we have an opportunity here in the state legislature, and I'm joined by my colleague, Assemblyman Steck. We're going to support this bill and continue to revitalize our upstate communities. We're both committed to keeping up this fight. We're going to support this bill this session. Hopefully we'll see it passed. We're proud to have local support. It's a win for local governments. It's a win for our local families and our neighborhoods. And I'm proud to stand here today with our mayor and local officials in support of this bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Angelo. Now I'd like to introduce Assemblymember Philip Steck.
Thank you very much, Mayor. And we have flesh-eating zombies in the movies, and now we have city-eating zombie properties. And as a member of the Judiciary Committee, which is where this bill is currently pending, I'm very optimistic that it will pass the New York State Assembly. We are in the same boat as many other cities in upstate New York, whether it's Rochester, Utica, Syracuse. They all have these tremendous problems with the abandoned properties. And the significant change that this bill makes is to require the lender to take full responsibility for maintaining the property once the foreclosure process has begun and if the property subsequently becomes abandoned. Current law does not impose that burden. And as you may know, from a larger national perspective, when mortgages started to be sold in the secondary market, a lot of the lenders would make loans that were not of the best quality, and the homeowners wouldn't be able to pay, and then the properties or the mortgages would be sold and foreclosure would result, and there would be no one with an incentive to really pay attention to the underlying property. So we are in the Judiciary Committee proposing this legislation that will change that. Again, I'm very optimistic that it will pass and it will be a big help to all of our small cities in upstate New York. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The Abandoned Property Neighborhood Relief Act further builds upon Schenectady's efforts to revitalize neighborhood. The Capital Region Land Bank received $3 million through Attorney General Schneiderman's Community Revitalization Initiative to complete demolition and renovation projects in our community. And it will also occur in Rotterdam Junction in the city of Amsterdam. And this is combined with Schenectady's U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development grant, which is commonly referred to as a 108 loan, where we have another $3 million. And so Schenectady is investing approximately $10 million in our neighborhoods over the next few years. Additionally, Schenectady ended 2014 as the lead awardee of a $558,000 New York State Department of State Local Government Efficiency Grant to partner with Amsterdam, Troy, and Gloversville in a pilot program to combat blight and better manage distressed properties through innovative information sharing initiatives. We're going to standardize the terms for distressed property and qualify that in a manner that will allow better empirical data and to manage problems across the state. This legislation will complement that effort by requiring mortgagees to register these properties with a statewide vacant and abandoned property registry, which will further improve information sharing and our effectiveness in our code enforcement operations. So I want to thank everyone for coming today. I want to thank the two members of the Assembly for their efforts on behalf of the City of Schenectady, and particularly on this bill. Now, both myself and the staff will be available for questions. Sure. Whatever you want.
Squirrel here. Excuse me.
What is it?
It's a flesh-eating squirrel.
It's crashing our press conference.
Baby squirrel.
Sorry, a little distracted.
The squirrel's looking to move in here, I think.
Probably so.
Thank you.
Hey.